Do you still remember that rush? That first time you saw a laser sword ignite with a blinding, vibrant color? The entire theater seemed to hold its breath. A cosmos beyond our own appeared, and the opening narrative slowly scrolled across the screen. This space adventure was not just a movie. It was a collective dream. A story about a humble farmhand who could stand up against tyranny and restore light to the universe. But behind those dazzling frames were stories the public never heard. Filming days buried by desert storms, secret romances between co-stars, and real sacrifices that pushed human endurance to its limits. Let's uncover 20 strange, sometimes heartbreaking facts hidden behind the saga that turned sweat, tears, and extraordinary effort into an immortal cinematic legend. Number 20. Darth Vader, a nightmare of four souls. The door blasted open, and from the darkness, a colossal black figure emerged. Heavy boots struck the metal floor, followed by that signature mechanical respiration that would haunt generations. They were witnessing the birth of an icon, but no one knew he was pieced together from 4 different lives. His towering frame belonged to David Prowse, a 6'7" British bodybuilder who brought physical intimidation. For laser sword duels, he was replaced by Olympic fencer Bob Anderson, who made the attacks a graceful, deadly dance. When the villain spoke, it was James Earl Jones, whose deep, resonant tones became the essence of villainy. Finally, when the mask was removed, the dying face belonged to Sebastian Shaw, conveying decades of pain in seconds. 1 character, 4 people. A cinematic Frankenstein forged with muscle, voice, swordplay, and a heart revealed only in his final moments. Number 19. Princess Leia's near casting change. Autumn of 1976. Los Angeles. The director's casting office hummed unknowingly on the verge of shaping cinema history. Dozens of hopeful young women sought the role of the galactic leader. A young Jodie Foster, 14 years old, stepped in, sharp, articulate, confident. The director observed, then gently refused. Too young. Next came Sigourney Weaver. Tall, commanding, rugged. But her eyes belonged to a field marshal, not this specific type of leader. Then Meryl Streep, a rising star, but not the right fit. The director still hadn't found the spirit he needed. The room was heavy with exhaustion. Then the door opened. A small figure entered. Neat hair, a simple shirt, old denim. Unremarkable. Carrie Fisher, 19 years old. Her voice had a slight tremor, but her eyes were incandescent. She read the line the world would soon memorize. "Assist me, wise old guardian. You are my only hope." Her voice wavered, but her gaze burned with defiance. She didn't perform the words. She embodied them. The director watched her for a silent moment, then turned to the producer. "That's her." No fanfare. No applause. But from that instant, Carrie Fisher became the emotional anchor of the film. On set, Fisher was a cocktail of wit and rebellion. She adjusted her lines, playfully mocked her co-stars, and even challenged the director when necessary. She refused to play a passive royal. Her character was intelligent, sharp-witted, and self-sufficient, a hero who didn't wait to be rescued. Years later, Fisher often joked, "I was just trying to survive a film full of men." But she accomplished far more. She transformed her role into one of the first female sci-fi icons, proving that women could command troops, give orders, and lead whole realms. Had the director chosen differently that day, the film might still have succeeded, but it would have lacked a certain fire. Because only Carrie Fisher dared to tell the world, a princess doesn't need saving. She is the one who saves the day. Number 18. C-3PO's Golden Prison. British actor Anthony Daniels stood before the gleaming golden shell that would make him the most courteous automaton in cinema. He wasn't told it would become a trap. As the suit was pieced onto his body, he realized with horror he was being locked alive. He couldn't bend, sit, or breathe deeply. He could only see through a tiny slit. The automaton's clumsy movements weren't acting. They were genuine limitation and pain. The suit weighed over 45 pounds with no ventilation. In Tunisia, internal temperatures soared past 120 degrees. Daniels lost significant weight, sometimes pounds in a day, and fainted mid-scene multiple times. He couldn't eat lunch with the cast because removing the costume took hours. Yet he endured, bringing genuine emotion to a character that was literally inhuman. A human in metal with a heart of true gold. Number 17. The 50-Year Storm. The Desert That Fought Back. George Lucas wanted to film in Tunisia's desert, envisioning a scorching scene on a planet with twin suns. He built elaborate sets and transported hundreds of crew members to one of the most remote locations ever chosen. But when the crew arrived in March 1976, they met the heaviest rainfall in over half a century. Winds howled, turning sand into sludge. Flash floods swept away models. Set pieces collapsed. The director, barely 30 and over budget, watched his desert planet dissolve. Lucas didn't give up. When the rain stopped, his crew dried every cloth, rebuilt every wall, scraped mud off models by hand. They worked 18-hour days in brutal sun. In days, the driest planet in the cosmos was born from mud and rainwater, testament to a director who refused to yield to fate. Number 16. The Legendary Scroll. Filmed by hand, inch by inch. The iconic opening crawl wasn't created with computers. Those technologies didn't exist in 1976. Instead, technicians constructed a massive 2-meter blackboard, painting it matte black, then pasting glowing golden letters at a specific angle. A camera was motorized to move slowly along the angled board. But the motor was imperfect, prone to vibrations. A single speck of dust or slight shake meant starting over. They often spent 10 hours capturing just 5 seconds of perfect footage. This legendary opening began not with technology, but with a board, a shaky camera, and obsessive perfectionism pushing dreams forward millimeter by millimeter. Number 15. The Flash Gordon Rejection. In 1971, George Lucas wanted to remake Flash Gordon. He pitched his vision and was told, impossible. The rights aren't for sale. But Lucas was stubborn. If he couldn't remake Flash Gordon, he'd create something entirely his own. He built a new universe where spiritual warriors replaced space heroes. He envisioned a farm boy gazing at twin suns, carrying the galaxy's fate. When the film launched, Lucas reflected that had studios said yes to Flash Gordon, he never would have created his mythology. From bitter rejection, from that closed door, he rewrote cinema history. Sometimes our greatest works emerge not despite our failures, but because of them. Number 14. Illusion of Grandeur. When half the sets were paintings. Without computer-generated image, the film's grandest scenes were created by artists with paintbrushes. These matte painting masters stood before massive glass sheets, painting entire portions of the universe with oils and imagination. Each brushstroke had to be perfect. There was no undo button. They crafted endless Death Star corridors, extending practical sets into infinity. They turned small sections into vast hangar bays. Lighting had to match painted portions to reality perfectly, so the eye couldn't tell where reality ended and illusion began. These artists sometimes spent weeks on a single painting appearing on screen for seconds. The Death Star's throne room, vast engine rooms, so much was actually paint on glass. These artists painted half a universe, making audiences trust a galaxy truly existed. Number 13. Chewbacca's Hunter Risk. In California's Redwood Forest, 7'3" Peter Mayhew donned the furry suit that would make him cinema's most beloved walking carpet. In full costume, he became genuinely bear-like, and that's where danger emerged. The production team realized with alarm they were filming during hunting season. The risk of Mayhew being mistaken for a bear and shot was terrifyingly real. Crew members immediately surrounded Mayhew in bright reflective vests, creating a human barrier. The beloved giant was escorted like a head of state. A bizarre reality where a fictional creature needed real protection from real bullets. Mayhew later recalled feeling genuinely nervous, hyper-aware his perfect costume could put his life at risk. Number 12. The Tiny Warriors. The Ewok Mobile Boilers. In Return of the Jedi, performers wearing furry creature suits endured real torment. The costumes weighed over 20 pounds with no ventilation. In the humid forest, internal temperatures soared. Actors sweated profusely. Some fainted from heat exhaustion. The crew set up recovery areas with fans, ice packs, and medical monitoring. The schedule was adjusted for cooler hours with mandatory breaks. On screen, symbols of courage. In reality, true warriors enduring fur-lined saunas in humid conditions, all for bringing these characters to life. Number 11. The Wise Master. The scrapped monkey idea. For Empire Strikes Back, someone proposed hiring a trained monkey to play the Jedi Master. A cost-saving idea. They brought in a wrangler for a test. It was an immediate disaster. The moment they tried putting the mask on, the monkey tore it off, threw it violently, and went berserk, biting wires, knocking over lights, creating chaos while screeching at the terrified crew. The plan collapsed in minutes. Lucas contacted Jim Henson's team and brought in Frank Oz, who created one of cinema's most beloved characters through sophisticated puppetry. Sometimes the obvious solution is the worst one. Number 10. Desert Hell. The crew. Nearly melted. The 500-person crew in Tunisia's Sahara stepped into extreme conditions. Temperatures exceeded 130 degrees Fahrenheit. Sand became so hot it melted plastic equipment. Camera cases warped. The metal became too hot to touch. The automaton actors fainted repeatedly. Medical personnel treated dozens of heat exhaustion cases daily. The crew went through hundreds of gallons of water. Yet dehydration remained constant. When sandstorms hit, and they hit frequently, visibility dropped to zero. These storms swallowed the set whole, burying equipment and destroying set dressing. Yet no one quit. They rebuilt after each storm, working dawn to dusk. Those golden frames were captured through sheer physical endurance. When you watch those scenes, you're seeing images created by a crew that endured genuine hell to capture beauty. Number 9. The Real Romance. Han and Leia's Secret. Amidst studio lights, a quiet romance sparked between 19-year-old Carrie Fisher and 33-year-old Harrison Ford. For 3 months during filming, they kept it absolutely secret. The age gap and professional complications, Ford was married, required extreme discretion. Fisher later wrote they lived as their characters during the week and themselves on stolen weekends. The affair ended when filming concluded, but something remained. Years later in Empire, Ford improvised one of cinema's most legendary exchanges. The script called for, "I love you too." But Ford responded simply, "I know." That improvised line became legendary, capturing roguish confidence while conveying deep feeling. Many believe that exchange worked perfectly because the affection was rooted in something real between the actors. Number 8. Luke's Real Snake Bite. Filming on Dagobah used a real swamp location, full of actual wildlife. Snakes, insects, alligators. The area was a natural ecosystem with all its hazards. During one take, as Mark Hamill climbed from his submerged vehicle, a snake struck, biting his wrist. Hamill felt the sharp pain and saw blood. But his professionalism kicked in. He kept acting, finishing the movement even as adrenaline flooded his system. Only when the director yelled "cut" did he alert the crew. Medical personnel rushed to examine and treat the bite. Fortunately, the snake was non-venomous. The remarkable thing? The scene was kept. When you watch that sequence, a portion of Luke's struggle was absolutely real. The pain, the surprise, the fear in the actor's eyes. Number 7. A Hero's Scars. The accident that rewrote the story. Before Empire Strikes Back, Mark Hamill suffered a horrific car accident in January 1977. His face collided with the steering wheel, shattering bones and requiring reconstructive surgery. When Lucas saw Hamill during pre-production, he faced a crisis. His lead actor looked noticeably different. Recasting was dismissed. Hamill was Luke Skywalker. Lucas turned tragedy into narrative opportunity. He rewrote the sequel's opening, adding an ice creature attack that mauls Luke's face, requiring medical treatment. This explained the actor's changed appearance and demonstrated that heroes bear scars. That creature attack wasn't in the original script. It was added specifically to address Hamill's accident, allowing him to complete the journey he'd begun and making Luke more real and relatable. Number 6. Darth Vader was blacklisted. David Prowse, who wore the Darth Vader's armor, made a career-destroying mistake in 1979. During what he thought was a casual interview, Prowse casually revealed, "The villain is the hero's father." This spoiled Lucas's carefully guarded secret, the greatest twist in cinema history. Whether seeking attention or not understanding the magnitude, the damage was done. Lucas's reaction was swift and unforgiving. Prowse was instantly blacklisted from official events, barred from conventions and premieres, essentially erased from promotional history despite being the villain's physical presence. For decades, Prowse lived with this excommunication, carrying bitterness about his treatment. It was a cold end for the man who gave the Darth Vader his imposing presence. Prowse died in 2020, never fully reconciled with the franchise. Number 5. The lightsaber sound's raw origin. The lightsaber's iconic hum was created through pure analog experimentation. Sound designer Ben Burtt captured a low drone from an old 16mm film projector motor, that electrical hum old machines produce. He layered it with electromagnetic buzz from a TV cable. But the sword needed to move. Burtt experimented with moving his microphone past speakers playing the hum, creating the Doppler effect. That rising and falling pitch as the blade moves through space. Pure, raw sound design. No computers. Just old equipment and creative instinct. When audiences first heard it in 1977, they didn't know they were hearing a projector and TV interference, they just knew it sounded exactly right. Number 4. Alec Guinness hated the film. Stage legend Alec Guinness, Obi-Wan Kenobi, initially called the script trash for kids, but agreed to return for the sequels because his deal gave him a lucrative percentage of the profits. But he took the role for easy money between serious theatrical work. When Lucas invited him back for the sequel after witnessing unprecedented success, Guinness negotiated hard, demanding a percentage of profits, a deal earning him millions. In later interviews, Guinness maintained his bemusement. He confessed he didn't understand why people loved these space fantasies, why adults obsessed over children's entertainment. He was bemused by fans who recognized him only for this role. But, with characteristic British wit, if millions believed in the spiritual energy binding the galaxy, he certainly believed in the royalties flowing into his account. The trash made him more money than all his award-winning serious roles combined. Number 3. The Stormtrooper Head Bump. During a tense scene where armored soldiers marched into a control room, something unplanned happened. One actor, wearing the white helmet that limited vision, forgot to duck. His helmet slammed into the steel doorframe with a loud clunk. Filming stopped. The crew tried not to laugh. But Lucas, reviewing footage, kept the blooper. The accidental bump reminded everyone that beneath the Empire's cold armor were just people who made mistakes, who bonked their heads. The moment became legendary, spawning countless memes. It humanized the faceless enemy. In later editions, sound designers enhanced the bonk, officially embracing the accident. Proof that sometimes the best moments aren't scripted. Number 2. Death Star's near destruction. During studio filming, a small electrical pop from an overloaded panel escalated into genuine danger. Gray smoke poured from walls, filling the soundstage. What began as a minor issue became a real fire emergency. The crew evacuated as fire suppression systems activated. The chaos was absolutely real. A legitimate fire threatening to destroy weeks of work and derail production. The left wall section was scorched, some components damaged beyond repair. After firefighters contained it, Lucas chose adaptation over delay. He kept the smoky, damaged look, incorporating fire damage into the battle-worn aesthetic. Scorch marks remained in the final cut, adding to the sense of a military installation that had seen conflict. If that fire had spread, the entire galaxy might have burned. The franchise came within minutes of being destroyed by real flames. Number 1. The ultimate rejection. Every studio said no. In 1975, George Lucas took his space fantasy to studios. Universal passed. Too strange, too expensive. Paramount wasn't interested. Space movies were box office poison. Disney said no. Every major studio rejected it. Lucas finally approached 20th Century Fox, a studio in crisis desperately seeking hits. Executive Alan Ladd Jr. sat through the pitch and admitted he didn't grasp the story. The mystical energy. The laser swords. But something about Lucas's passion convinced him. Ladd said something that changed cinema. "I don't understand this thing, but I trust you." That single sentence, simple trust in a young filmmaker, led to a green light. Fox offered a modest $8 million budget with significant skepticism. When the film launched May 25, 1977, in just 32 theaters, lines formed around blocks. Shows sold out. Word exploded. It became the highest-grossing film of all time, creating a multimedia empire worth billions. And it almost never happened. If Ladd hadn't trusted his instinct, if Fox had been less desperate, if Lucas had given up after all those rejections, none of it would exist. The biggest miracle wasn't the special effects. The biggest miracle was that the film was made at all. These 20 stories reveal that the legendary saga was forged not in the stars, but in struggles of real people. Behind every iconic frame was someone sweating, suffering, improvising, and persevering. And it almost never happened. Every studio said no. The film that changed cinema was greenlit only because one executive trusted a filmmaker's passion over conventional wisdom. This is the real magic. Not special effects, but human determination to create something meaningful despite every obstacle. These films endure because they're filled with sweat, tears, and stubborn hope of hundreds who refuse to give up. So next time you watch those opening crawls or see a laser sword ignite, remember, you're watching a miracle, a testament to what humans create when they believe in something impossible. May the Force be with you, always.